Behind every skyscraper's steel and glass facade lies a structural framework of legal obligations, an invisible matrix that dictates the project's survival. Most structural and financial failures result from broken contractual duties rather than technical miscalculations. When a project collapses into litigation, it is usually because a specific party failed to execute a specific legal responsibility. A construction site operates as an ecosystem of reciprocal obligations. Every physical action on the ground depends entirely on a prior administrative or legal duty being fulfilled in the office. To understand how these connections work, we must map the anatomy of a project from a blank site table. Successful delivery requires mastering the exact interlocking obligations of three specific groups: the employer, the consultants, and the contractors. Preventing chaos requires building this contractual matrix from the ground up, node by node. The employer is the project's genesis, providing capital and land. They connect directly to the principal agent, the administrative hub. The employer's first non-negotiable obligation is providing unhindered site access by the contractual date. Without this, physical work cannot begin. Their second vital obligation is financial. The employer must pay certified amounts strictly on time to prevent the project from starving. Late payments halt procurement and freeze labor. The principal agent acts as the employer's proxy and the administrative center of the ecosystem. This role is responsible for establishing formal communication structures and managing the master timeline, and ultimately issuing the practical completion certificates that signal the building is ready for use. This schedule from a standard JBCC agreement shows the strict timelines a principal agent must follow. They are often required to take action, from issuing notices to certifying payments, within a window of just 5 to 10 working days. This core axis establishes the financial and temporal boundaries, dictating the survival of the entire project. The matrix now expands to include the primary consultants. These professionals bridge the gap between the client's vision and the contractor's execution. The architect is obligated to issue coordinated drawings and resolve spatial conflicts on paper before they manifest as expensive clashes on the physical site. Professional competency is a statutory mandate. As shown in the Architectural Profession Code of Conduct, all registered persons are legally required to discharge their duties with due skill, diligence, and competence. Beside the architect is the engineer, carrying specific statutory responsibility for structural integrity and mechanical systems. The engineer must inspect the works at critical hold points, such as concrete pours, to confirm the construction actually meets the design intent. The quantity surveyor serves as the financial referee, responsible for measuring and valuing the work actually executed on site. Their professional code requires them to maintain strict independence and impartiality in these valuations, regardless of who pays their fee. Together, design and cost consultants act as objective certifiers, balancing the employer's interests with a requirement for objective fairness. The bottom half of the matrix is where paper translates into concrete. This is the execution team. The main contractor is the single point of responsibility for the physical execution of the works. They carry a rigid obligation to execute work exactly according to the drawings, the specifications, and the agreed contract program. Linked to them are the subcontractors. These specialists are obligated to complete for specific trades within the constraints of the main contractor's master schedule. The suppliers form the logistical backbone, providing a steady flow of compliant materials to the site. This creates high stakes for long lead items. A single supplier's failure to deliver custom components on time creates a cascade of physical and contractual delays across the entire matrix. The execution matrix is where abstract legal obligations are finally tested against hard supply chain constraints and physical reality. Pulling back to see the complete network, we find all these specific roles are bound by a web of global obligations. The first is the principle of good faith and cooperation. Parties are required to act constructively to solve problems. The second is rigorous record-keeping. Site diaries, minutes, and formal notices are the only objective tools available to manage disputes. The third is the duty of timely instructions. Failing to issue a drawing or approve a variation within the contractual window will immediately trigger delay claims. Below all of this is occupational health and safety. OHS is a shared statutory bedrock. It is a dangerous myth that safety is exclusively the contractor's job. The designer has a specific OHS obligation. They must refrain from specifying inherently dangerous materials or procedures during the design stage. The employer is also bound. They are legally required to formally appoint competent contractors and ensure the project is sufficiently funded for safety protocols. These global duties are grounded in professional ethics. This section of the Code of Conduct demands that all registered persons discharge their duties with fidelity and honesty. Failing a global obligation, whether it is safety or basic integrity, can instantly collapse a project, making technical perfection irrelevant. When the lines on the page are executed correctly, the abstraction disappears. A completed building is the physical manifestation of a successfully executed contract. The employer's role is to enable and fund the work. The consultants define, measure, and impartially certify the work. The contractors procure, manage, and physically execute the work. Projects rise only when every party understands, respects, and fulfills their specific obligations within the matrix.